Finally, the mech has come back to YouTube.
How you doing, guys? Big Mac Nansko here today. Good to see me, isn't it? Yeah. Well, I've been away for, not away, but I've been gone from YouTube for about probably 2 months. There's been nothing consistent over that time period. And I'm going to explain the reason for that now. So for the past 5 weeks I've been out on the road driving, delivering. And with me concentrating all day driving, you know, for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, I didn't want to be getting home and painting miniatures. Or I was getting home and I just didn't want to paint miniatures. I didn't want to do anything where I had to concentrate. So I've been doing other stuff. I've been doing just watching a lot of TV basically, a lot of lounging around. I've stopped running because I've just been physically too tired, as well as mentally drained from driving. I may have mentioned before, the company I work for is a kitchen firm, so they deliver kitchen units to building sites and stuff like that. They're fully built up and stuff, and you're walking over uneven ground and you're carrying these units that are like, if it's a pan drawer or something like that, they've got big metal drawers in, and you're carrying them. They must weigh like, I don't know, probably about 40, 50 kilos, something like that. Maybe not, I don't know, maybe it's not that heavy, maybe I'm just exaggerating. But you're walking over uneven ground or through mud and stuff like that, your boots are getting caked in mud, everything's heavy, everything makes you tired, it's horrible. Anyway, I'm back on shunting now, so that's basically just moving boxes around the yard and taking them around to the loading bay. So hopefully there'll be more content coming up in the near future. After this video, there'll be another video maybe, and then one tomorrow, who knows? Anyway, right, so this weekend, I've just been away to see my mate in Derby. They want to play Warhammer against 40k against the Collect Space Wolves. I've mentioned him before on the channel. And yeah, got down there on the Friday. We played with his son for a bit and stuff like that. He had some friends around as well, so they were playing all kinds of games. And then we cracked open my copy of, it's been opened, but my copy of the Assassinorum Execution Force game, and we played that. That's the first time I played it. Now it's a very, it's quite a similar mechanic in the way the enemies work to Zombicide. I say it's quite similar, it's not, but it is in some ways. In Zombicide you have sound tokens and stuff like that, and the zombies walk towards the nearest sound token, or where the most noise is coming from, or something like that. And in Assassinorum Execution Force, the Renegades, so that's the Cultists, the Space Marines, and the Chaos Space Marine Sorcerer, Chaos Space Marine, Chaos Space Marine Sorcerer. They walk around the board, depending on, they walk over each square. Every so often there's an arrow, and then they walk that way. And then there might be an arrow pointing left, an arrow pointing right, or an arrow going forward. And there's a corresponding set of numbers. 1 and 2 is left, 3 and 4 is forward, 4 and 5 is right. So you roll the dice to decide which way to go. It's all automated, so you can play the game by yourself, theoretically, which I might do, you know. We played that on Friday. It was really fun. Good thing about board games is, no, I'll pause there, and I'm going to tell you what else we did. So on the Saturday, we also did a little bit of painting and stuff like that. On the Saturday we played a game of 40k. My mate's wife was her sister's baby shower, which we crashed a little bit later. I got some cake, it was lovely. Anyway, yeah, we played some 40k, we played a 1,000-point game, and it was frustrating for me. We got to play flyers which we've not played before, because David was bringing a flyer. He brought the Stormfang gunship, I think. That's the one with the most guns on it, the Stormfang gunship. There's the Stormwolf and the Stormfang gunship. I think the Stormwolf's more of a transport with guns, and the Stormfang gunship is a gunship. Anyway, yeah, so David brought that. He brought some Grey Hunters. It was a company of the Great Wolf formation. He brought Grey Hunters, the Stormfang, Bjorn the Fell-Handed in a Lucius drop pod. Is it Lucius drop pod? I think it is. He brought another HQ. I don't know what else he brought. Another HQ. He brought some Void Claws as well, which he didn't get to use. and I had a unit of boys I didn't get to use, because what happened, because we only play every so often, we were taking a while, like, building our lists, and then taking turns, basically, like, you know, we were looking at rules and stuff like that, making sure we're doing stuff right, which we always do. It's kind of frustrating because I don't play that often. So I really should start playing more often, even if it's just a 500 point game against myself, just to refresh the rules in my head, you know, a couple of weeks before going down there next time, and then I'll be more like on the ball with the rules. Thing is, in the smaller games, you don't use all the rules. It's when you start increasing points that you tend to see more rules because you've got a greater variety of units in there. And it's the rules that you don't play as often that you'll get mixed up on. Yeah, so we played that. I've told you what David took. What else did he take? I think he took... No, he didn't take Thunderwolves. I can't remember what else he took. Oh, he took an Iron Priest in his flyer with some Servitors as well, which gave it... Does it give it will not die? Basically, we can repair hull points, which is awesome. Any way of repairing hull points is great. If you could do that on the Dakajet, it'd be amazing. I think, I'm not sure if you can do it on the mech flyer, the Blast Bomb Blaster Jet. But anyway, talking about Dakajets, I took a Dakajet, basically to counter his flyer. Only bad thing was, my Dakajet came in before his flyer came in. So, my Dakajet didn't last long, but it was good to see it on the board at least. I also had 2 tractor cannons, and that was also part of my plan to counter his flyer, because I knew his flyer was going to be tough for me to get, because you can't hit it with a power fist unless it goes into skimmer mode, power claw rather, which is a common way orcs have of destroying vehicles. That's, you know, the most common way you see is power claws or rockets. People use rockets as well, but they're not reliably going to. I think it's armor 14 or 13 on the front. And a strength 8 rocket isn't going to reliably bring that sort of thing down. So I took a Dakajet, I took a big mech with custom force field. He had a unit of Meganobs with him, 5 Meganobs. And they went in a battle wagon with 2 rockets. The Meganobs destroyed the drop pod that Bjorn came down in. Then Bjorn... I might have played it. I've got a feeling Meganobs might be fearless. I might be wrong there. But yeah, Bjorn came down in the drop pod. The Meganobs destroyed his drop pod. But the Lucius pattern drop pod as well is really cool. The Dreadnoughts can shoot out of it. Like, they stay in it for a turn and they can shoot out of it. It's amazing. Anyway, yeah, so he shot out of it. He took a hull point off my battle wagon. My Meganobs got out of the battle wagon, destroyed his drop pod, but they were then basically Bjorn charged Meganobs in the next turn, and the custom force field can't be used then, which is kind of frustrating. So if you're taking a unit with a custom force field, you kind of don't want them in combat because you want them to be shot at rather than taking wounds in combat. So that's something for me to bear in mind next time. My boys, I used a big chunk of my force as bait, basically. The way I brought my Dakajet on, it was right above my tractor cannons, basically. Because I wanted his flyer to come on near my tractor cannons, so I got a chance to use them. And my boys were running across the front of the tractor cannon to put even more bait, you know, basically just pull try and pull some of his forces over to that side, but the only thing that went near them was the flyer, and he shot my Dakajet down. My boys, I also had a unit of Gretchen, by the way, which they valiantly charged the Void Claws, but did nothing, of course. Void Claws, if you don't know, they're Terminators, Wolfguard Terminators with Lightning Claws, unit 5. And yeah, let's go back to Bjorn. So Bjorn and the Meganobs, Bjorn killed some of the Meganobs, and the Meganobs failed the morale, and then Bjorn wiped him out with, what's it called now, Sweeping Advance. beyond wiped them out with sweep and advance, which is very frustrating because that was my only unit that was really going to do anything because it had all the power claws in there or the kill saws or whatever. I rolled really badly over the course of the whole weekend, even playing Assassinorum Execution Force. I was doing rolls and I was getting 1s and 2s and it's like, oh, you know, I was doing sprint moves and you sprint move, you just roll a d6 and you can move that many squares again. You can do, basically each assassin does 2 actions. You can move 6 inches and then you can do a combat move, a shoot move, a sprint move, something like that. Instead of just talking about that game, I might do a playthrough of it one day. We'll see. So let's get back to the battle now. Yeah, so the Dakajet was wiped out by the Stormfang. The Stormfang, stupidly, I told David what the tractor cannons do before the. He didn't ask, but I told him before the Stormfang had shot all of its weapons. So then, of course, the next thing he shoots at is both of the tractor cannons because it was a single unit. He took one of them out, and then there was one tractor cannon left. I hit him. I got a penetrating hit, and if you cause a penetrating or glancing hit on a flyer, basically what happens is the flyer's pulled out of the sky. Or it's immobilised, basically, the flyer. The zooming flyer is immobilised, which I think then causes a crash and burn result. So, he jinked, and because he jinked, he made a save, and then my whole plan was ruined, and all I had left, because my Meganobs had been wiped out, my Gretchen had charged the Void Claws and then got wiped out, of course. All I had left was my boys and a single tractor cannon, so we kind of called it there. I think next time we really need to play objectives. I may have said last time I went down we need to play objectives next time, but we didn't do it this time. I think we're kind of a bit wary of playing objectives because it's another thing to remember. But once you get into the swing of it, it'll be fine. I think it's just got to be a bit more confident with some of the rules because I was saying what I thought rules were, and I was looking them up, and then I was remembering most of the rules that we were a bit unsure of. And yeah, so if we play objectives next time, Maelstrom objectives, or even just objectives at the end of the battle, that'll be beneficial to me because I quite often take a combined arms detachment. So any troops I take are then objective secured. I was going to say super scoring. Yeah, they're objective secured, so that'll be beneficial to me because firepower-wise, Space Wolves against Orcs, Space Wolves are always going to win. Potentially they could just take up a position on the battlefield and keep moving back from that and keep shooting at the Orcs, and the Orcs are all going to die pretty quickly. So moving on from that, what was I going to talk about? What else? Just talk about board games in general. So I mentioned today that I had Zombicide. I wasn't sure if we'd be into it or not, but yeah, I might take Zombicide down next time I go. And I'm probably going to get more GW board games as well. So there's a 35 quid one with the Scouts and the Gene Stealers. That looks really tough to win as a Scouts. I think the Gene Stealers in that game are automated in the same way that the Renegades are automated in Assassinorum. Then there's the Deathwatch game. I've got the Horus Heresy game. I've just not played it yet. I've built the miniatures, not painted them. So yeah, the board games are a really good thing to do because they don't take up anywhere near as much time as a battle in 40k. Even if it's just a 1,000 point battle, me and David take ages to compare to other people. We take ages, I think, to do the battles. So probably going to invest in more of the GW board games. I was looking at the Silver Tower, Warhammer Quest Silver Tower game, and I'm tempted by that, but not just yet. And yeah, so that leads me on to this weekend. So this weekend coming, I'm going to War Games, going to Southport to pick up something I've spoken to Martin about and ordered. So, if you know me, you'll know what armies I play, or if you know me, if you've watched the channel before, you probably know what armies I play. You may have heard me mention other armies than Orcs that I collect, or started collecting when I first got into the hobby. So it may give you a bit of a clue as to what I'm picking up, because of something also that's come out recently. And that leads into September. So September I've got plans to get at least 3 videos up a week in a similar fashion to what I did in October last year. I did October like some people do. I was sort of inspired by Pete from Mini Warzone to do that last year. I had a really good time doing it. I got a video up every day. Of course, I was unemployed at the time because I'd been made redundant from my previous job. But I'm hoping with my weekends free and my evenings free in September, I can get at least 3 videos up a week in September. You'll have to wait and see what it's going to be in September. And yeah, that's about everything for the time being. It's a really long video, this, guys, for just a channel update. But thanks very much for watching, and I will see you on the battlefield.